In this video, I'm going to talk about the importance of getting honest and accurate feedback on your tracks, and the best way to get that feedback, and also how you should react to that feedback. It's not easy to get fair and honest feedback on your tracks. If you're a music producer, you already know this. In fact, it can be difficult to get anyone to listen to your tracks at all. There's a few things you can do which will increase your chances of getting good and honest feedback, as well as a few things you definitely shouldn't do. I'll be getting to that shortly, but first I'd like to talk about why feedback is such an important part of music production. You may wonder, why can't I just make it the way I want? Why should you care about what anyone thinks about it? Why do you need someone else's opinion at all? Well, the thing is, when you've worked on a track for a long time, you tend to lose your objectivity. Eventually, you're no longer able to determine if it's actually good or bad. You have no doubt experienced this before. It typically goes like this. You start out with a melody that you think is great. You say to yourself that this is going to be it. This will become a real banger. You're really excited, so you keep working on it for hours, days, even weeks. After having listened to the same thing over and over for so long, eventually, you no longer feel like it's quite working anymore. It just doesn't sound good anymore. At this point, you may end up scrapping the whole thing, or you start tweaking it endlessly. Sound familiar? Why is this? Imagine that you hear a track you really like on the radio. You get addicted to it. It becomes your new favorite track, and you simply can't stop listening to it. But inevitably, you get sick of it. In fact, after a while, you can't even stand listening to it anymore. At this point, you start questioning what you really liked about it in the first place. Now, of course, the track hasn't changed. It's your perception of the track that has changed. This is basically the same phenomenon that every music producer is constantly struggling with every day. Every time you start a new track, it's a battle against time to get it finished before this fatigue sets in. At that point, you simply don't know what's good and bad anymore. This is when feedback can be helpful. When you've reached this point, it becomes progressively more difficult to make the right choices. Oftentimes, you end up tweaking the track to death, trying to make it better while all you're really doing is making it worse. You see, because you become so sick of it, you start changing it more and more, trying to make it sound good again. And that's not good, when the original idea you started out with was actually very good the way it was. The key is to realize that this is happening and when it's happening. Realize that you've reached the point where you can't really trust your own judgment anymore. At this point, you need to rely on feedback. However, now you'll end up with another problem almost every producer will recognize: the difficulty of getting honest and accurate feedback. A lot of people will tend to spam various Facebook groups with their tracks asking for feedback. This will usually not work. In fact, it's mostly counterproductive. There's a lot of envy in the community, so even if your track is good, some trolls will say it's shit because they just don't want anyone else but themselves to succeed. You simply can't trust this kind of feedback to be accurate. Most producers in these groups are often the worst people to ask. They will often pick apart your track and try very hard to find things wrong with it, even if there's nothing really wrong with it. This kind of feedback can often be very biased and can not only hurt your confidence, but also fool you into making poor decisions. Someone who is not a music producer can often be a better choice. They have no idea about production techniques, so they will tend to listen to the track in a very different way, from a listener's point of view. You can always get away with a few technical mistakes, but if the musical idea is not great, then the track won't make it anyway. Ideally, you should get feedback from multiple sources with different backgrounds. This is where the second problem arises. Who do you ask who is not a music producer? Well, your friends and family, of course. But this is not always such a great idea either, because, well, they're your friends and family. They obviously don't want to hurt your feelings, and a lot of the time they'll just say it sounds great even if it sucks, and that's the worst kind of feedback you can get.
God, son, that's wonderful.
So you can't really trust random producers and random groups. You can't really trust your friends and family either. So what can you do? Some people end up spamming links to their tracks on SoundCloud and YouTube and such. This is not a good idea. First of all, any post containing a link will usually get flagged as spam and removed automatically. Besides, people really don't like getting these kind of spam posts. Secondly, they'll most likely just ignore it or delete it. If you do get a response, it will not be the one you're hoping for because they will likely just go to your page and give your track a dislike or say it sucks, simply because you managed to irritate them. Needless to say, getting accurate and trustworthy feedback is hard. Really hard. It might seem kind of hopeless, but there's a few tricks you can use which will vastly improve your chances of getting honest and accurate feedback. When it comes to Facebook and other social media platforms, you can try to become friends with some fellow producers and work together with them to exchange tracks and feedback. You give some, you get some. If you want to go the YouTube or SoundCloud route, don't just spam your links. Instead, try to engage with people. Listen to their tracks and comment on them. Be nice and they will probably head over to your page and listen to your stuff and return the favor. I certainly do. Once you've found some people that you can trust to give you honest feedback, there's one more thing to keep in mind, and this is a big one. Always embrace negative feedback. This is so important that I'll say it again. Always embrace negative feedback. Don't get mad if someone leaves a negative comment on your work. Don't try to explain your decisions in order to convince them that they're wrong. Instead, always embrace criticism. This is the only way you'll be able to learn from your mistakes. You should be happy that people are honest and saying what they think, as this will help you improve. If your track has a muddy low end and someone points it out, you'll be able to learn from your mistake and improve in this area. But if you constantly get mad when faced with criticism, then nobody will dare say anything bad about your music anymore, and you'll just end up making the same mistake forever. So remember, always embrace criticism. In fact, this is so important that you should actually seek it out. Be very clear about it. Make sure that people know that you need them to be 100% honest. Always thank them when they point out something wrong in your track. Make them understand that by pointing out mistakes in your track, they're helping you out. If you get mad, then you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. You can't expect any honest feedback after that. If you don't really have any friends you can ask, or you don't trust them to be honest, then there are services that offer to give professional feedback on tracks. But these are often quite expensive. It's much better to have a friend that you trust who can listen to your ideas and give instant feedback. I'm very aware of the difficulties involved with getting people to listen to your tracks. That's why I've set up a gig on Fiverr. For just $5, you can now get 100% honest and professional feedback on your tracks. I will then listen to the whole track and let you know my honest opinion about the track as a whole from a listener's standpoint. I will then listen to the track again and try to analyze it from a producer's standpoint, pointing out any mistakes and make a list of suggestions on how you can improve your mix. If you'd like to try it out, then you can find the link in the description below. I'm also offering professional mixing and mastering. I'm curious, what's your preferred way of getting feedback? Are you asking family, friends, random people on the internet? Let me know in the comments below. It would be fun to hear your stories. Check out Firewalk Music on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, and so on. I hope this was helpful. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you'll get notified the next time I upload a video. I'd like to thank my Patreons who help make these videos possible. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then you can head over there to Patreon and donate. As always, if there's any specific tutorial you'd like me to make, or if you have a question, just let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.